do I feel a little wounded today. Got to tell you, you guys, you're like family to us. You're like crew to us. Your boy is playing hurt today. Woke up, back completely locked up. But we are here, and we are here for the next hour live on Stadium, simulcast on our YouTube page. Thank you to the Aleve gods. But it is Football Friday. I would never miss on a Football Friday. Now, we are the most transparent show. We call it Driving the Line, DTL, whatever you want to call it. Decent day at the brand. Decent day. Hit some straight picks. Hit a few props as well. But my guys, look at that. Soupy on fire last night. And that's why we have a crew for a reason. Coming up later in the show, we will have our fantasy as well. We have a very busy schedule. As you guys know, we're dropping all kinds of content. The easiest thing to do, just follow us. Subscribe to our YouTube page. If you're not a premium member yet, I encourage you to join. Do it right now because we have stuff dropping every single day. Just like our brand new DTL, the podcast, the audio drops around 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then for you premium members, you get the video, fresh content, 20 to 30 minutes every single day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Howie Schwab, the great Howie Schwab, always looking down on us. Here are the crew play of the day selections. Virginia Tech. Remember today, all football, all the time, unless you're on the breaks on YouTube. How about Miami minus 17.5? They've been the biggest surprise of the college football season. How about Washington plus 1.5 or Rutgers minus 1.5? Those are your selections. Producer man will let me know what you guys vote on at the end of the show. I'm particularly pumped for today because we've kind of established ourselves as college football, NFL football, but also don't forget, coming up at the bottom of the hour, your 5-pack of soccer plays, football with a U. Our man, Charles, who's had a pretty big week. But I've got a crew that is standing by. They're like rabid dogs. They want to get at it. They want to have a cash stacking Friday. So, ladies, without further ado, it is time for the picks. Sometimes you're playing hurt. Sometimes you're calling in the lefty. But I got two of my absolute very best this morning. Look at him. We got the haircut, no hat today, live from Memphis, Tennessee. Good morning, DG.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, crew. Hey, listen, it's Friday. I'm excited. Fridays are always one of my favorite shows because it's always a little spicy. We're looking to the weekend.
You're damn right. We got a lot to talk about. When I say calling in the lefty, look who's here on a Friday. He's our numbers guy, Rafael Esparza. Good morning, Rafael.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, crew. I'm lost. Is today Friday? I'm normally not here. I feel really weird being here, sitting here on a Friday.
Well, I was kind of feeling the same. It does kind of, seeing you two, very, very weird. It feels like something is a little bit out of whack here on this Football Friday.
Morning, Coach, crew. Got in on the red eye from parts unknown. Big shout out to my man AB, Tina, Chris for being gracious hosts to the gym club. If you know, you know. We look forward to more of you joining as soon as possible.
Did you just say if you know, you know?
That I did.
What the hell is going on right now? I'm dead serious. When you guys do. Now, look at the chat. They're not liking this. They're going, oh, snap. Oh, fresh out of the club. Oh, my LOL. Whenever you try to produce yourself, it really pisses me off. But you've excited my curiosity. Are you trying to tell me that you literally just got off the plane from the club that you got into last night on Thursday Night Football with Rico Dowdle?
From parts unknown.
From parts. So now you're using my stuff against me. Now you're using my own gimmicks from parts unknown. Raphael, you decided to come in and pitch in for Soupy today. But yet Charles couldn't have the respect for you to get in time, and he shows up late to the show from parts unknown.
He won. He hit the gym, so he can do whatever he wants. I just want to hit the gym. I don't want to be the last person in the gym. Most likely, I won't even hit the gym this year.
I love the confidence, Raphael. I love the confidence. DG, Mark says Chuck rolled with the big dog.
I'm jealous, man. I want to be in the club. I need a little cachet. I need some love.
I told
You
you
have to start
guys.
hitting some chalk. Hit some chalk like Big Chuck did. Maybe some 10-1. Some
Wow.
Gotta do what you got to do.
That's a stray.
It is a stray. God, I just letting it breathe right now, and the stupid chat is all over it, and they're loving every second of it. I absolutely hate it. All right. Well, he's going to have that stupid smile on for the next 30 minutes or so because his Football Friday picks, the 5-packs of the biggest leagues in the world. We've got to do it now. Did you actually go out and buy those sunglasses? You have me tripping right now.
I picked it up along the way, Coach. There's some little party favors that they handed out.
party
You
favors.
picked along the way. Matt says, attaboy, Chuck. Don't listen to the haters.
Chuck 316. That was awesome.
By the way, we will have a very special episode of BTT today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to get our reactions, over 45 years working alongside Vince McMahon, we're going to do it one time and one time only. 2 p.m. Eastern Time today. Join us on our Behind the Turnbuckle YouTube page. And I promise you, Charles will not be there. I can promise you that. Ches24 says, oh, my God, I love this show. Ches, so do we. Until my guys take the show into their own hands. Apparently, Big Chuck didn't realize we've got time cues to hit today. But thank you for ruining the entire show. I do not care what the chat says and the fact they all love it. I don't care. You're ruining the show. Now, I need to focus. We've got picks right out of the gate. And DG, I'm going to come over to you, big boy, because on a Friday, when we need to stack the cash, and can you get high from a leave? Is that possible? I kind of feel like it right now. I feel like Advil. I don't even know what I took. Is Advil or leave or something? But maybe it's just Charles. I don't know. All right, DG, I'm looking at 3 big plays today. What do you got, sir?
We're going to go with the Kicker Palooza. We're going to go to some Sunday games. We're going to go through 3 different kickers. And Dustin Hopkins, first one, 2+ field goals at -110. The model has him at 3.4 field goals made. So we're going to look at the Raiders, who allow 3+ field goal attempts per game. We're going to go with Dustin Hopkins there at -110. But then we're going to go to some kicking points, right? So you just need a field goal's worth 3, extra points worth 1, so everybody understands. But Harrison Butker for the Chiefs, 8+ kicking points at -120. The model has him at 3 field goals. Sorry, not kicking points, 3 field goals. But he's at 8+ kicking points in every single game going against the Chargers, who have the second best red zone defense. We're going to go with Harrison Butker, 8+ kicking points at -120. And then the last one is Kaimi Fairbairn, and that is 8+ kicking points as well, but it's at -130. The reason we were going here is because it's at -154 if you're trying to get him for 2+ field goals. But Jacksonville has allowed 2+ field goals each game. He had a massive dud last game with the Texans. I expect a bounce back game. So Kaimi Fairbairn, 8+ kicking points at -130.
DG, I feel like you're channeling your inner Soupy today. Are you good?
Good. I'm stumbling all over the place. AP.
Charles is a vibe. It happens. He's a vibe. It's happened. I mean, the people in the chat can't even concentrate right now. So they don't even know what you just said.
That's great.
Know that last night, I've never lived in a world, Raphael, where they're talking about literally the balls at the 42, and they say, oh, 5 more yards, they're in field goal range. The dude from Aubrey, from the Cowboys, is changing the game. These kickers, 60 yards and in, they're going for it every time. It's bananas. And Harrison Butker is the new highest paid kicker in all football. That's how great he is. Thank you, DG. We will have Soupy later in the show. Sort of. We're trying out something new. All right, Raphael, you also have 3 plays today, and you've decided to have a little college flavor to yours. Yes, sir?
Yeah, a little too college, and then they do play football up in Canada, and I'm going to start with that because, Mr. Cool is always a troublemaker, and he going to the CFL. That's why I like Bo Livy Mitchell over 300.5 passing yards. This is over at FanDuel. The reason I picked this one, because there's 3 different lines. DraftKings has 309.5. Offshore has 307.5. What a perfect way to middle when you have 3 different numbers. He has hit this prop 2 out of 3 games. The last game he didn't hit it, but he did throw for 299 yards. They're averaging over 30 points a game, I think, Bo Livy. And the T-Cats of Hamilton, I think they'll push this total over and we cash this one. And then we're going to college football. Give me Rutgers first half -0.5, -3 nickels. They are a perfect 3-0 this year. And their first half are 3-0. They're outscoring their opponents in the first half 54-17. It's going to be a run-happy game. I still think Washington's still licking their wounds, losing to the Apple Cup. Really, college football, the Apple Cup in September? Come on, we'll do better than that. But Rutgers wins this one, and I like Tulane team total over 34.5, laying the 3 nickels. I just think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. They went down the road last week and beat Charles' really favorite team, the Raging Cajuns, not LSU. They beat them 41-33.
Are the Raging Cajun your favorite team, Charles?
Bo Levi.
What is wrong with you? We have an interesting development. So last night on DTL Primetime Live, Randall Mims was outside of said place, wherever AB was at, fixing a tire and the brakes. Well, AB's not here this morning, and Randall Mims is. At least Big Chuck made the show. AB must still be out driving around with those new brakes. We need to find all of our crew members. Where is AB? Hashtag
He's one heck of a
AB.
host. I'll tell you that.
It's this town. You know, it gets very. You think the club's not real? You're seeing it right now. The club is real. We're off the rails. Hopefully, Stadium keeps us. And Amazon Prime and YouTube TV and Roku TV. Every place you find Stadium, you will find us. They love us, damn it. Tent pole twice a day, repeats at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Now, AB did heck the time. I believe this is before the shots started rolling, to be honest with you. And Washington Rutgers over 5 touchdowns. And a lot of these sports books are starting to put in the different kinds, the touchdowns and the overs, and make sure you hit the right number or button. And then also Miami over 4.5 touchdowns -110. And DG, that game is tonight. And we've talked a lot here on DTL about style points and how teams need to have them now that there are the at-large bids. Well, Miami, they're taking on a Virginia Tech team that before the season, a lot of people thought Virginia Tech might be able to do something. Also, they have the entire night to themselves. Showcase?
I think Miami showcases himself tonight. I think you're going to see a really good played game overall within both teams, but Miami is the better team. I don't see how they don't come out of this with a win, but also just I think AB's play was 4 or 5 touchdowns. I like that a lot. I think they can score at least 5 touchdowns in this game pretty easily.
Yeah, it was over 4.5 touchdowns, I believe, +110, I think, if I have that juice correct. But as always, I'd encourage you to get those because if it goes to 5, you just never know. That's a completely different bet. Over 4.5, over 5, completely different bet. Oh, I'd be remiss because the chat is while we are here today. Tony says Chuck is on fire today. Oh, mentioned Aubrey last night over 8.5 points. Some people they laddered Aubrey. Didn't you guys both have him last night?
Me and Seabass both had him, and then I had the longest field goal from the Dallas Cowboys. And honestly, he hadn't kicked a field goal all game, and then he kicks a 60-yarder. So that's pretty cool.
That is very, very cool.
Then he misses one.
He did miss that one to go up by 8. That is very true. CeeDee Lamb, we were on point with him. We said his catches, his longest catch. We said his yards. He went over that in the first half. They were getting it to him early, and they were getting it to him often. There's no doubt about that. We have a little on demand on Saturday, and also don't forget Sunday morning we are live now at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and also Sunday night DTL Prime Time Live, and they've assured us that there will be no more preemptions at Stadium. The minor league baseball playoffs are just about over, so we should be good to go moving forward on Stadium. Still to come here. We're just getting started on a Football Friday. We're talking look-aheads, more picks, all of it. We're live on Stadium. And we continue on here on our YouTube page, and we have WNBA news. Raphael, coming over to you. WNBA has really been a big part of what we do here at DTL. I feel like they've taken, in some ways, a big step forward, but one of the big storylines was Angel Reese. She's out of the playoffs, but the Chicago Sky, her squad, have fired Teresa Weatherspoon after just 1 year. They continue to step on it in some ways. Your thoughts?
I'm a little bit shocked that they pulled the trigger this quickly just because of Reese being so close to Witherspoon. But if you're the upper management of Chicago, you had to. They were awful after the Olympic break. And I know Reese was out with a wrist injury towards the last couple of weeks of the regular season, but I thought they would keep her just because of the close relationship she had with Angel Reese. This tells me that they're probably looking at someone, maybe a big name. Because I think if you're the WNBA in any management, player-wise, TV wheels, you have to swing for the fences because your league is red hot right now. Maybe they're looking at a big name to be their head coach.
That's the thing. But, DG, when you've got such a polarizing personality, and I just had Producer Man send me an apology that Angel Reese posted on social media, that adds more of a layer to this as well.
Yeah, I was shocked with the firing, but also there has to be a name that you already have planned. There's no way you go out and get rid of a first-year coach because you do have, a polarizing player like Angel Reese. But Angel Reese saying she went there because of Witherspoon, girl, you got drafted. It wasn't your choice. They drafted you. That didn't make sense.
It doesn't, Charles, but the WNBA needs to figure out, they all need to talk to each other because it's like one black eye after another, and this just plays into that.
Yeah, I'm shocked they let Teaspoon go, Louisiana native, and then I'm sure she had a close bond with the Bayou Barbie. So after just 1 year to let her go, knowing the influence she's had in the WNBA, was kind of shocking. So we'll see how this unveils who they bring in and how that really rubs to the Bayou Barbie going forward.
Charles, do you have a bottle of liquor on your table there to your left?
Possibly.
Could you take that off the table for me, please, sir? If you don't mind. Thank you. Appreciate that. Welcome back. We are live. It is a beautiful football Friday on Stadium, and I got three of my best. Raphael pinch hitting, DG as always, and we are getting through. He is a vibe this morning. Mr. Big Chuck Charles over there. You gotta be coming down a little bit from the high of the club and just a little bit. So you'll be perfect for about 32 after the hour when we do our 5-pack for Football Friday, which you've been killing it lately. Killing it. So just hang tight, because we've got a lot to talk about too. This is where we look ahead, and it's never too early to try to beat lines or try to look at certain aspects of a game that maybe you weren't looking at. So we're going to start with a team that absolutely needs it. And last week, the Panthers ruined a lot of people's lives, DG, because yet again, survivor pools absolutely sliced in half, and the Bengals have been a big part of that as well. Does Cincinnati get back this week? Because right now it's 4.5, 47. And then we do have two other featured games that we will get to also.
The Bengals better is all I have to say, because my God, they are struggle bus right now. Minus 4.5 is a weird number, and it's always a number that I stay away from just because it could go either way. And if Vegas has that number, I usually just say, you know what, something more than I do. But I think this is a game that the Bengals can easily win. They have the best talent. But as you saw when they went up against the Commanders, Jaden Daniels just tore them up. I don't think Andy Dalton can do that, but I do think that the Bengals have to answer, and they have to answer quick. If not, their season's done. Like, if they lose this game, they're done.
This is a really good betting game, because I know Raphael, somebody might come in this morning. Why are they focused on this game? Well, last week there was a lot of betting angles that made a lot of sense. And now with Andy Dalton, kind of the offense was opened up a little bit. I've got my eye on this game, Raphael.
Me too, because I think the public is going to look at the Bengals and say, you know what, they need a W, they need a win. So they might bet this one up to maybe 5 or 5.5, and that's when I'll jump on Red Rifle, to sling it all around at home, even though the weather will probably still be a little bit windy because of the after effects of what they're going through right now. I like the Panthers spot right there. I want nothing to do with the Cincinnati Bengals defense. I know everyone keeps on saying, oh, Joe Burrow needs to step up and win these games. No, their defense needs to step up and win those games. They let a rookie throw all over the secondary like there was nothing. I think the Bengals defense needs to wake up, and I don't see them waking up anytime soon. I'm looking for the Panthers spot on this one.
Okay, I like that too. Andy Dalton, 3 touchdown passes in the first half last week against the Raiders. Now, Charles, let's shift over to a team that they simply do not cover. And when this number came out, I hope the public was all over it because it started at 8 for the Chiefs on the road. I know the Chargers lost by double digits last week to Pittsburgh, but my goodness, now it's come down to a more reasonable 7. The total is sitting at 40. But Charles, the Chiefs are a team that historically in the Patrick Mahomes era, they just win. They don't worry about covering. Yes?
They're the ultimate teaser team. Yeah, they're not a cover machine, and this one's tricky because we're still waiting on the status of Abear to see if he's going to play or not. He's just been injury prone the whole season since training camp, so a lot of it depends on his status. So I'll be interested to see. Maybe if you think this line may be kind of telling you he's gonna play. At the 7 because it was at 8. So you may want to kind of take that into account also. So, yeah, this may be a good spot if you like the Chiefs to tease them or maybe put them in your parlays. But at 7 at home, you normally would want to take the Chargers, but how long can Abear make it through the game? He could go out at halftime. So it's a real risk you take with that one.
Yeah, great analysis there too. And if you guys are thinking about the Chiefs and the fact that they haven't 100% ruled Abear out, then you could wait. It could go to 6.5, Raphael. That then when you take the teaser down, it's a 0.5 point and not on that even one, which may not seem like a big deal, but it comes in more times than we like to admit to. Do you think this one comes down to 6.5 at all?
I mean, everyone's looking at the injury to QB, but both is injured. They're still missing 2 offensive linemen. They're still out on the secondary as well. So it's not just because of the quarterback. This one will probably go back upwards. I think we'll see 7.5 and maybe 8 because I just don't see all these injuries for the Chargers playing on Sunday.
It's a very good point because, DG, this is because the NFL is like the ultimate sport that we start looking ahead on Tuesday. And we have NFL every single day for these exact reasons. But if you don't have a good backup these days, then you just can't compete in the NFL. I don't even know who the backup is, but right now, this could be the biggest news of the entire week.
Yeah, Heineke, I believe, is the backup for the Chargers there. But that 7 number is, right on. I just think that the Kansas City has played so well, but they've also kept teams kind of in the game that I'm curious what Taylor Heineke would look like going against the Chiefs, who, honestly, their defense is played, pretty average, maybe a little above average this season so far. But that's a game that if it goes to 7.5, I would look at the Chargers. If it goes below 7, I would look at taking the Chiefs. And so it's right there where I would stay away until maybe a live play or that number moves.
I think that's a great point. It's like a blinking light right now at that 7 and not knowing. Raphael, go.
Don't forget, this is one of the late afternoon games, so it's not a 1 o'clock game. So you'll have all the people betting it after the 1 o'clock game. So if you're looking for either more points with the Chargers or less points with the Chiefs, you might want to wait to see what the early afternoon games go.
Boom and boom. Thank you, Raphael. As always, on point. Now, we have more games to talk about, but many of you out there have not set your fantasy lineups yet. And so in honor of Raphael, who absolutely loves fantasy football here at DTL, our man Soupy, even though he's not on the show today, he wanted to take care of you with plays and fades. Ladies and gentlemen, Soupy.
I'm Soupy, and here your Week 4 fantasy football starts and sits. And we have to begin with Sam Darnold, who has unexpectedly excelled and is currently listed as the QB4 going against the Packers, who've allowed the 9th most passing yards and the 4th most passing touchdowns. He is definitely primed for another great game. And Deontay Johnson, did you see him with Andy Dalton last week? And have you seen the Bengals secondary? He looks like he's going to be a breakout candidate. And now for our sits, I just don't trust Matthew Stafford without Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. And now he's going against the Bears, who have allowed the 2nd fewest points to quarterbacks per game. And DeAndre Swift, it just isn't working out in Chicago. And now they've said that Roscoe Johnson is going to get an expanded opportunity, which means Swift needs to be out of your lineup. And those were the starts and sits.
How about my man Soupy? DG, he is not only doing his own segments now, he's getting editors to work with him. What is going on with your rival?
Is that professional, Soupy? We need to ask him about the hat. Maybe he's hat fishing us. I don't know what's under those. If there's any locks under there. But yeah, I like professional Soupy. Dial it up a little bit.
All right, we'll see if we keep him around every single Friday for the starts and sits section of the program. Now, DG just talked about Heineke as a backup with the Chargers, but Raphael, let me come over to you because he used to be in Washington. And last week, and I love talking to you about this because you're like, Coach, bump the brakes. It's only been 3-4 weeks. I think Jaden Daniels is a franchise quarterback. I think Jaden Daniels is a future Hall of Famer, Raphael. I think he could be one of the best out there. And they're on the road this week against a team who's offensively outside of the line has been very, very good. The Arizona Cardinals at -3.5. The total sitting at 50. Raphael, I know you backed me on all of that, correct?
Oh, 100%. It's Friday. I love that fantasy segment. I'm going to rewind it when I'm done with this just to watch the fantasy segment. You know what? I like Arizona in this spot, but I hate that half a point next. I'm hoping that half a point goes bye-bye throughout the rest of the week and by Sunday. I think Arizona is a live play, and I think Washington takes a step back. They beat a Bengals defense that us four and even a hungover Charles can score on a Bengals defense. I'm gonna say it. It's Friday. I'm not supposed to be here. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on Washington. I like Arizona. I'm gonna wait for that half a point to go bye-bye.
Speaking of bye-bye, that phrase needs to go bye-bye. And DG, as I come over to you, the one thing I do agree with when it comes to Raphael, and not, him being in a bad mood all the time when it comes to my takes. Even John in the chat says, whoa, pump the brakes, Coach. Yeah, I said it. Future Hall of Famer. But now, DG, I do agree that half a point is like a blinking beacon of a red light. I would buy it down to 3 at the very least if you're on the side of Arizona.
And I think this is a game that you watch might be one of the more entertaining games of the entire slate of games. I would have never have said that probably 3 weeks ago and definitely not a month or two ago, but this might be the more favorite one. Kyler Murray's playing very well. Jaden Daniels is playing very well right now. This game could get over 50. That would be something I would look at, is trying to find a good number there and finding out where the maybe 5 or 6 touchdowns I think we could get in this game. And so I think that over 50, because the excitement level for me is there. I think both these QBs are electric.
That's exactly, Charles, where I'm heading with this game is that total. Because both teams have proven they can't really stop anybody, but yet they can absolutely score. Where are you thinking about right now?
100% total. There's not a lot of games that I see overs, but this definitely stands out. Picking aside, because that the Commanders are going to come in. They have to be public dogs coming in. Everybody's excited, but they're coming in on a short week. So, yeah, I would stick with the total, stay neutral, just root for points in this one.
One last game, we've got about a minute left, guys, for this segment, is the 49ers, who are missing all of their players, but yet at home they're still favored by 10.5 over the Patriots, who really kind of showed their hand, Raphael, against the Jets. So 10.5 the total, 40.5, about 20 seconds, sir.
This one just screams, just wait for live betting. This one, I don't want to touch anyone. There's too many injuries, 10.5 too high for me. Just wait for live lines.
DG, your thoughts on this one? Weird number, again, that half a point.
Yeah, the only thing I'm looking at is maybe Brock Purdy passing attempts. This is something I would look at playing here.
All right. Charles, your thoughts on this one? I don't like any of these numbers, to be honest. Charles.
Maybe Patriot. I was seeing if it still worked. It looks like we're all still good to go. Patriots team total under 13.5, I think, would be a good look.
Hungover Charles.
You have a line for everything. Just like the chat does. Kevin says, Soupy is our generation's James Earl Jones. Did you guys see the story last night that James Earl Jones, true story, he took $7,000 to voice the original Star Wars instead of taking the equity they offered him. That would have made him tens of millions of dollars to be paid out to this day to his family. The guy that did the little animal, he took that, tens of millions of dollars. True story, just came out last night. All right, we're about halfway through having a good time here. It's DTO, where we are live every morning on Stadio. However, DTL continues on our YouTube page for all of you degenerates and OGs out there. And DG, last night, on the same night They had to take it all the way down to the Thursday of the last week to get the job done. I'm talking the Dodgers over here. They scored 7 late to hit that over 8.5 if anybody had that play. And then you have the Yankees over here that got the job done against the Orioles last night. Which team on which coast, DG, do you have more confidence in?
Wow, I never thought I'd say this. It's the Yankees. Weirdly enough, the Dodgers, I don't love their pitching. They haven't been playing well. They have the Ohtani factor. I just think the Yankees right now. I don't know why. It just feels right.
Raphael, does it feel right to you?
No, I guess Soupy paid him off to say the Yankees on that one. I guess they are close friends in real life, but I'm going to go to the other coast and not the Dodgers. Nobody's going to want to play the Padres. Darvish is on the mound today. It's going to be very interesting to see how he pitches. He's pitched well since he's been back. Joe Musgrove has been pitching well since he's been back. The Padres pitching staff is going to be the main reason why no one's going to want to face them in the playoffs. So I'm going to go to the Fathers in San Diego.
So many different things you have quotables for your teams, Raphael. Charles over there, big boy. Dodgers, Yankees. I mean, we're talking old school rivalry, and now both get into the playoffs, well, in that way on the same day. Your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I have to roll with the Dodgers. They've just been on the cusp. So, and plus Ohtani coming in. But I agree with Raphael. Those Padres are scary. And then remember, we still have a future on the Orioles also. So that could be a sneaky one getting in. I know that they've struggled down the line as well. But hey, they get into the playoffs, they could be a spot. But yeah, I'm definitely rolling with the Dodgers. I think they're more prone to take a longer ride.
Speaking of rolling, John in the chat says, just realized Charles still has the glow sticks on from the club last night. As you're starting to struggle in and straggle in, we're starting to see some of the remnants of you with Seabass and AB and Tina all in the club last night. But hey, when you get in the club on DTL Primetime Live, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you got to tune in every single primetime night to be a part of the party, as Charles was last night. So we live with it. We live with it. And we tell you this, we're back on Stadium in 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. It's DTL in the morning on Stadium. We also repeat in the afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern time, right before You Better You Bet rolls with you from 5 to 7 p.m. We're taking over Stadium. Wherever you find Stadium, Amazon Prime Video, YouTube TV, Roku TV, the Stadium app, watchstadium.com. We are everywhere, every single day. Now, many of you in the chat, you're asking about it. You come in a little bit late. Maybe you're at work. Maybe you had to go to a meeting. You know you have you taken care of later in the show. But this is special. It's every single Friday. And this man spends hours upon hours getting set for his own segment. So, Charles, I will try to speak softly. I will try to not get too loud because I know it's been a long night. But you have a job to do for the people. Charles, Football Friday is yours. Oh, I love that little stinger. Big Chuck, talk to me.
Italy, Serie Udinese versus Inter Milan. These two clubs, they've combined for 3 or more total goals in 5 straight and 6 of 7. I see that trend continuing, giving the over 2.75 or over 2.5. MLS Saturday night, Vancouver Whitecaps, Portland Timbers. 3 of their last 4 meetings has produced 2 or more first half goals. Give me the over 1.5 first half goals in the Rain City. EPL action on Sunday, Manchester United, Tottenham. Both teams have scored in the first half in 4 of the last 5 meetings at Old Trafford. And we'll roll with the both teams to score in the first half in this spot. Again, Germany Bundesliga, Hoffenheim, Werder Bremen. Hoffenheim played on Thursday, and Bremen should benefit having scored in 4 of the last 6 first half matches against Hoffenheim. So Werder Bremen, first half team total over half a goal. Lastly, France League 1, Strasbourg, Marseille. This is just our weekly auto play. Marseille team total over 1.5 goals. They've scored 2 or more goals in every match this season, so lock that one in.
Couple things from the chat. Omar says what we're all thinking. When I grow up, I want to be just like Big Chuck. DG says, thankfully my mic was muted. I lost it, as did producer man, who you all cannot see. Charles, I'm not going to ask you to repeat it, but how long did you work on these series?
Maybe a couple minutes. It's just
You are too much, man. I tell people all the time, you got to be unique, you got to be different, and my man, you're all of those things wrapped into one, and I'm so damn happy you're on our team. That's for damn sure. Robbie says Charles just went full Italian. It's a me. It's a Charles in the Mario. You guys are too much. You guys are too much. All right. Big Chuck, thank you very much. I know week 1 you went 4-1. I expect nothing less from you this week. All right. Well done. So we've looked ahead to the NFL slate, but as you know, to get your account right, you got to have a busy Saturday and a successful Saturday. And DG, I'm going to start with you because there's a lot of sports that you are an expert in, but I would consider you one of our best college football experts. And we have a game that everybody looks forward to every single year. And now that there's 12 teams in the playoff, it's even, I think, more fascinating to see how this one plays out and how we all perceive Georgia and Alabama. But this number has come down. Georgia at one point was +2, in some places +2.5. Let's start right there.
That's going to be the best game of the entire weekend. Georgia and Alabama is going to be a complete fist fight. You're going to see this game start off slow, in my opinion. I think both these teams kind of fill each other out a little bit, but you're going to see a little bit more scoring going into the second. And in the third, you're going to see a lot of the same. They're going to come out with some coaching changes. And so at the fourth quarter, we should see it slow back down again. So if you're looking at live plays, that's something to pay attention to. There might be a chance you might be able to get a better number on the total around the second quarter before it ramps up. But I'm going to stay away and enjoy this game and just look for live betting. Both these teams are so good. It's hard to pick one side or the other, especially if there's not much juice on either way.
I could not agree more. It's absolutely really hard. Raphael, do you feel like maybe the books, because in my gut, Georgia was the number 1 team. They've been the number 1 team for the last 3 years. They're looking for 3 out of 4 championships, but they really struggled against Kentucky. Does that game kind of resonate with books and the reason the number is what it is?
That game, and their defense is not the same defense we've seen in years past. I think that's probably the biggest question mark is Georgia's defense. But this one just reminds me of just a back and forth betting wise. You're getting great two-way action. This is not even a top 20 of tickets written or money coming in. It's just so balanced of a game. I 100% agree with DJ. Maybe take the live number. Maybe just take some prop bets on this one. It's going to be a fantastic game. It's a coin flip. For the books, they're looking for an Alabama win because the books are really heavy right now on how many SEC teams are going to get into the playoffs. If Georgia loses now, they still have a couple of tough schedules. If they have 2 losses, that can kind of help them because I don't think 5.5 SEC teams are going to go in, but people bet it all the way from 4.5 to 5.5. Very interesting game right now for the future of SEC and how many teams get in the playoffs.
Wait a second. So that is a really live play right now that books have a significant amount of money bet on the number of SEC teams.
Oh yeah,
yes.
It's probably one of the bigger.
And they're betting over 6.
5.5, mostly 4.5, but 5.5 they keep on coming in because I guess you have to bet SEC or you get fined or you can't bet anymore because you have to do everything positive when it comes to SEC.
Stop it! You're so stop it, Charles. Based off of that information, we only have 12 teams. To say that 6. Even though they're all going to beat up on each other, that seems like a really high number to me, doesn't it to you?
Very large numbers. So they'll definitely want the under. And in this Georgia-Alabama game, I think speaking of unders, I think that's just the way to attack this game. I see it keeps creeping down. So rather than having to pin yourself to a particular side, just stick with the under and root for a defensive battle.
A couple of people in the chat. One, Raphael said, what about the first half under? You guys are so active today. Thank you guys very much. I just lost where I was going to go, but I believe somebody mentioned the first half under because the teams start a little slow. Raphael or DG, Either one can take it. Raphael, go.
I agree. The under in the first half is probably the best in the game because they'll move the game total before they'll move the first half total. So they might just move the juice around for the first half. So 24.5, I would go that way.
He's our numbers guy for a reason. Do you like that, DG, the slow start narrative?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. You're talking about 24 and a half. That half is very big because I could see somebody scoring definitely a field goal, but 3 touchdowns coming from that is probably the most we'll see. I just think this is a defensive battle.
You're watching DTL in the morning live on Stadium with Raphael, DG, and Charles. And can I just read you what Aaron Bailey wrote in the chat? This is the entire reason and why we get up in the morning and show up. Coach, I'm driving to the sports book. Smart play. And that last segment had the laughing so hard I'm about raining to a trucker. Laugh out loud. The show put me in such a good mood in the morning. Thank you. Well, if I could read Aaron, it'd be nice too. But that's what we're trying to do. Whether you're listening in your truck, whether you're watching us on Stadium, whether you're an OG on YouTube, this is fun, and it's supposed to be fun. Now, Raphael, begs the question, will Oklahoma, now that they're switching quarterbacks, have fun on the road, also down in the Alabama space at Auburn?
This one's interesting because this is the most bet game tickets written, not money. It's 90% coming in on Oklahoma, which opened up at -3. Now it's anywhere between pick and 1. I like Oklahoma. I'm not sold on Auburn. This is not the Auburn team we've seen in years past. Just look at their schedule of play and look at their defensive play as of late. If I'm going to play this one, I'll look at Oklahoma, but I hate going with the public because so far the public has not been correct in both college or NFL, but I do believe Oklahoma wins this one.
Wow, taking a shot at the public. DG, let me come over to you. I think it's still hard for books to kind of wrap their head around the fact that these are regular season in conference matchups like this one. Oklahoma and Auburn, you think it's a special game. Now it's a conference game.
It's a conference game, and it means more, in my opinion, for Oklahoma. I'm going to be on that side looking at how they can kind of dominate the ball. But just like we talked about Jane Daniels, that's the new QB Hawkins plays a lot of the games similar to him. If you just don't hurt your team and keep the ball moving, I expect Oklahoma to get a win here.
Robert says, totally agree, Raphael. Auburn's been horrible and lots of turmoil there. Also, Charles, in the Notre Dame situation, they start off big win, national TV. Then they lay an egg to Northern Illinois at home. Then they blow out Purdue. Will the real Notre Dame please stand up? But this number has gone to 7 now. It was in like the 5.5, the 6. Why has it gone to 7, Raphael?
Notre Dame, it's touchdown G.
Charles.
Touchdown Jesus.
I thought it opened at higher and kind of fluctuated because I was really looking at Louisville in this spot. Also, I was looking at the under. I think this is one we'll see another defensive battle. So I was kind of liking Louisville in this spot as the dog because, yeah, I saw it open at I thought higher 10, fluctuated down, going back and forth. So 7. So, yeah, I like Louisville in this spot, catching the touchdown in the under.
Raphael?
This one opened up actually 6 and 6.5. I think DG had it at 6.5 early in the week as one of his plays. And this one will keep on climbing. I think we'll see 7, maybe just move the juice around 7.15, 7 -120. I don't think we see 7.5, but I think touchdown Jesus is the reason why. And they're at home.
Thank you for saying that. DG, this seems like Louisville, buy me that 0.5 point, lay the extra juice. I'm good to go.
Yeah, I really like Louisville in this spot, but the main thing I like is the points. It is going to be a defensive matchup. Both teams have very good defenses. Their offenses stink, and so that's why I would go with any kind you can get points in a game like this. I would get it.
Raphael, Kevin just said what you said. Public is struggling this year. We need to do Bizarro World and play opposite of what we think. How often does that happen when you're looking at a game and you're ice cold and you say, "Oh, what would I pick?" I always go to the opposite one anyway, so then I go back to the one that I actually liked. Why is that so hard to do, Raphael?
Either that or take the night off is one of the two. Perfect example was last night. If you lost last night's game, then you're doing something wrong because you could have had 3 different numbers, 4.5, 5, and 5.5. And what did the game end at? 5. Make sure you have multiple outs because you should not have lost a ticket last night.
You should have either bought it down or bought it up, but not be right there. What does Raphael tell you all the time? Have multiple books. Have options. We teach that to you all the time. Now, there's a lot of you who just came in the last few minutes. Don't even worry about it. We've got straight picks. And we're going to do it all for you when we come back. Even Charles, he's made it through an entire hour completely hungover because we were live on Stadium. We continue on here on DTL in the morning on Stadium and all you degenerates on our YouTube page. It's time to look ahead to Sunday night football. And I got to tell you, DG, the Bills and the Ravens, they are now a must win because the Ravens are 1-2. And I think the Bills have to continue to show the world they are absolutely legit.
The Bills are hot. They are legit, in my opinion. I love Josh Allen and how this team is kind of just moving down the field. It's so well. And so the Ravens have played well, but honestly, they beat the Cowboys. We saw last night. The Cowboys just haven't been looking good either. So I'm curious if they might be a fraud, this Ravens team, because the Buffalo has been looking really, really good.
That kind of begs the question, Charles, who is the real team here? The Bills 3-0, or is it the Ravens that just got off to a slow start?
I think the Ravens are going to come around. I think that's just a slow start for them. I really like them as the home favorites in this spot and the under, so I could definitely see pairing that together. Ravens and under kind of go together as the way I'm seeing this one. So, yeah, I think Bills are due for a letdown spot, and I said this. I'll say this again that I like your boy Josh Allen to eventually throw a interception. He hasn't thrown one this season. He hadn't gone through 3 games, so we'll see if he can get through 4. But I like him as a primetime pick also.
Yeah, Kirk likes Allen and Cook over rush yards as primetime plays too, Raphael.
Yeah, I like that one, but I didn't know the Bills' rough schedule of the Cardinals, Dolphins, and Jaguars is really tough to go on. I like the Ravens on this spot. They're dropping to -2 right now. So now you just tell me I just need to really win the game. And we all know if it's 2 or less, why don't you just look at the money line? So I'm leaning towards the Ravens here because I'm not completely sold on the Bills yet. Not yet.
DG, what do you think it's like to be Raphael and live in a world of negativity all the time and never happy?
I just want to know what you eat in the morning because I don't want to eat it, whatever that is.
Yeah. I don't want to eat it either.
I had granola bar today.
Not eating that.
Gosh, that is so on brand for you. That is so on brand. Popping bottles, can't even say it right, and then he probably would take a granola bar into said club. We are back live on Stadium in 5 seconds. Welcome back to DTL Live in the morning on Stadium. And before we get to our picks, last night, Charles, the Giants at times showed that they can be a legitimate team, but ultimately they only scored 15 points. But as we start to really think about props for the weekend, one guy I wanted to bring up and focus on is Neighbors. First player ever to have 25 catches, 3 touchdowns in the first 4 games of his career. He's got like 35 catches, almost 400 yards. As we've already done Soupy's fantasy, but we're starting to see some of these players, Charles, that have really big numbers. They're leaning into them. Should that be our focus for the weekend?
Well, my man Neighbors, I think he picked up a concussion. They're trying to kill him with all those targets. So, yes, I think he's going to be out. But, yeah, those that are gaining traction, I'd definitely be looking towards them. I think my man Kamara may be out, so he was a big one in New Orleans. So, yeah, players that are getting a lot of targets, like CD is one as well. So, yeah, those that are getting targets that they're going to keep on feeding, yeah, keep riding them.
That's the thing. That was very late in the game that he was taken into the blue tent, DG. And we're seeing a lot of guys, CD Lamb, Neighbors. Do you think it's a conscious effort as we start to look to the weekend, look to Sunday, that offensive coordinators are saying, you know what, I've got to lean into my stars, and a lot of these numbers are cashing for us?
Yeah, Neighbors has had 52 targets in his first 4 games. That's ridiculous. That's on Daniel Jones, honestly. I know Neighbors has been great, but that's on Daniel Jones. You can't overwork a kid like that. But honestly, it's just bad offense in general. But it's really hurtful for him because it's going to just kind of get his usage rate up a little bit too much.
It kind of feels like the same way they used to use Saquon. They had him, and they would just run him till he got hurt, or just run him into the ground. Now, other wide receiver numbers that appear, Raphael, to be a little bit low. Robbie in the chat says Marvin Harrison Jr. Grab these low numbers now. He had 130 yards in 1 quarter and then did nothing else. That's kind of apropos for a rookie wideout, even with a big name.
Yeah, but they were able to run the ball that game. So I think that's why those numbers were low. They rushed the ball really well, Arizona. This reminds me, the NFL's reminding me of the NBA where the stars are just the stars and no one else plays and no one else gets the ball. We need to start spreading the ball. Tight end usage has been down this year. Second and third wide receivers down this year. Everyone's just targeting their name and their name only. This is bad. I mean, we've seen it in New Orleans. We saw it last night with the Jets. We've seen it with Dallas. We've seen it in Pittsburgh. There's other players that run routes, quarterbacks. Throw them the ball.
Throw them the ball. And let us cash other tickets outside of CeeDee Lamb, who cashed all of his last night. Longest reception, catches, yards, all of it. Maybe Kelsey will have himself a week this week in L.A. I don't think so either. It's turned into a negative story. And I don't know. You know, Taylor's got a house in L.A., boys. She's got a house in L.A. Do we think she's going to show
houses
up?
Everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. She's just like you, Raphael. She's got houses everywhere. I don't know.
I got Tay money.
I don't know. Did you guys see Mama Kelsey put out a little statement this week about her son's slow start? Travis, talk to Mom. We don't need Mom defending you. Let DTL defend you. Stop it. All right, if you were not here at the top of the hour, don't even worry about it. We've got you covered on a Football Friday in the Whiparound. All right, we've got straight picks all over the board on a Football Friday. Thank you to everybody for taking our live number to such a big number. By the way, hit that like button every time you come in and then just start chatting away. We've got the best chat in the business. Now, AB, late night last night in the club, but he still sent 2 plays in. Miami over 4.5 touchdowns, minus 110. They play tonight at home against Virginia Tech. It's a show-out game. Then Washington, Rutgers over 5 touchdowns, minus 110 as well. Then, Raphael, you're also on that Rutgers game. Talk to me.
Yeah, raise your hand if you thought Rutgers would be 3-0 right now. I'm taking the first half minus a half, minus 3 nickels. They've outscored their opponents in the first half 54-17. I think they do the same tonight. And then we're taking Tulane team total over 34.5 minus the 3 nickels. They went on the road and beat the Raging Cajuns last week, putting up 41 points, and they're averaging 38 points at home. And so I'll take Tulane. And then give me the CFL Bowl. Levy Mitchell over 300 passing yards. Make sure you shop around, get the best number because there's numbers all over the place. I would not take the 309.5 at DraftKings.
And that is that a Friday night game or when is that game?
That's tonight. I'm sorry. The CFL game is tonight.
CFL. I believe they play all their weekend games on Friday. Is that right? Is it Friday, Saturday?
2 tonight and 2 tomorrow. 2 games tonight and 2 games tomorrow.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Raphael. All right, DG, coming over to you.
We got the kicker palooza. We're going to go with 2+ field goals for Hopkins going against the Raiders team that's allowed 3+ field goals each game. And then Butker with 8+ kicking points. The model has him at 3. Chargers have the second best red zone D, even though injuries. I still think to get these points. And then Kaimi Fairbairn for the Texans, 8+ kicking points. Jacksonville has allowed 2+ field goals in each game this season.
I'm telling you right now, with these big-time kickers, you got to lean into these props. I can all kick it from 60. Now, speaking of kicking, we've got a 5-pack today. Big Chuck, bring us home.
Italy, Serie A, Udinese, and Inter Milan. They've scored 3 or more goals in 5 straight. Give me the over 2.75. MLS Saturday night, Vancouver Whitecaps, Portland Timber, over 1.5 first half goals in the Rain City. Man United and Tottenham in the EPL, both teams to score in the first half at Old Trafford. Werder Bremen and Hoffenheim. I like Werder Bremen catching Hoffenheim on a short week to get a first half goal. And lastly, the auto play, Marseille team total over 1.5 goals. They've scored at least 2 in every match this season.
Marseille has been an automatic. A couple of things from the chat before we get the hell out of here. Do not forget, by the way, DTL, the podcast audio drops around 2 p.m. Eastern time. Also, a special episode of Behind the Turnbuckle today on our YouTube page at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Our reaction, me and Big Tommy, to the Vince McMahon doc. Now, DG, Sean says kicker and pass attempt props have been keeping me alive. It's interesting that those 2 have been very profitable.
Yeah, it seems like for some reason I know they're handing the ball off a lot to the running backs, but the pass attempts have been way up this year. And I know Better Days Ahead has given out a lot of stats, so make sure you go follow him on the all the passing attempts. But the kickers have been looking very good. You can kind of start seeing the books adjust because a lot of these guys now have minus 154 for 2 field goals. Crazy, can't touch that.
Wow. It's crazy, Charles, how they manipulate the number and add the juice because you can't go to 8.5 or 9.5 for a kicker. That's unheard of.
Yeah, it's crazy. 7.5s, 8.5s. And well, I'm still thinking about your boy Aubrey last night. Imagine lining up if you had that 5 or 5.5, and your automatic kicker steps up, hasn't never missed a kick 50 yards, and he steps up and misses it. Kind of on cue, wasn't it?
It kind of was on cue. That would have made it 8, and all the Cowboys bettors would have cashed their tickets. Raphael, bring us home on the thought process as we head in to another NFL weekend as different bets are becoming more attractive, we could say.
Be careful with that big line move at minus 150. The books are begging you to put a parlay together on that one. And we've all seen percentages have come out between DraftKings and FanDuel's parlay percentages and how winnable they have been for the books. So be careful when you look at minus 150s. I wouldn't take anything minus 150 or higher, even in a parlay. I would just maybe look for something else.
All right. That is incredible advice from Raphael. Our numbers guy, thank you. The chat's been popping. Real quick, we've got about 30 seconds, DG. I know Mark's in there. A lot of ways to help out the public. Educate them on what Mark has going on real quick.
Yeah, it's a lot of stats. Go to justastatsports.com. You can get all the plays over there. But also you can make sure you follow them on Twitter. It's at Better Days Ahead. So many stats coming out. It's going to help you. I promise you.
Analytics, numbers, diving in, doing the work. It all matters. Following all my guys on social media. It all matters. But we continue to grind, and we grind for all of you. One more big-time thank you as we close out another incredible week on Stadium. And it's time to finally say goodbye. But we're never that far away. The public says minus 17.5. That's what Howie would have wanted. He also would have wanted this. There's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all these tickets straight to the pay window. My attacker, Lobo. My man from the Dirty Charles. My man, DG. My numbers guy, Raphael. Pitch hitting today. Producer man behind the scenes. I'm simply the coach. Trying to keep this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you every single day live right here on Stadium. Good luck.